Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
I'm Jason.
Yeah, and then this is the Hiller Podcast.
On our podcast, we're going to be talking college processes, what we did, what our classmates did. We're going to invite different guests on, talk different journeys, different strategies, give advice to future Hiller students.
Yes. Any students. So let's kick it off. So Jason, when did you start your college process?
I started mine, well, we all started our essays in the end of junior year, but I didn't even use that. So I started mine midsummer probably. I didn't start early. I wasn't really thinking much about it. But the first thing I did was the Common App, and then I had to rewrite my college essay.
Yeah, I started out with really I think my college tutor.
Yeah.
I think that was like mid-junior year. And then we did that, as you said, the English part, the essay.
Yeah.
I didn't use mine at all. I did it with my aunt. She was a writer.
Yeah.
And like, when did you submit your first application?
Ooh, I submitted my first application. First one I submitted was UCF, University of Central Florida. It was in the first week of school, and I got in the same day I applied. It was a nice ego boost.
Yeah.
It kind of gave me some security.
Confidence.
I was into my first college. I didn't really need to worry.
Mm-hmm.
When did you submit your first one?
October. I think that was Auburn. And then because for Auburn it was like rolling, you could submit it every month.
Mm-hmm.
You could submit it in like August, September,
Mm-hmm.
but I submitted mine in October.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that was the first one.
So before you started to apply, or as you started to apply, before you heard back from any schools, what was your top?
Auburn was my top. I went down there in September this year, and it was crazy. We went to a football game. We did a tour. We saw the nightlife.
Yeah.
It was really fun. What about you?
I was always Michigan. I really liked it, but I knew I wanted to go in medicine, and Michigan's a pretty expensive school. So like my realistic schools were between UF and FSU, but Michigan was where I kind of wanted to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You tour any schools besides Auburn?
yeah. So I toured Auburn. The first school I ever toured was Providence.
Mm-hmm.
In February February break of junior year. I toured that. I toured all the schools around here, URI, Bryant. I toured UMass even though I didn't apply. I don't really like UMass.
Mm-hmm.
That was never an option for me. Never wanted to do that. But and then Alabama, and that's all. And then I went to Charleston that same trip.
Nice.
What about you?
I toured UF and Florida State junior year. I also toured Florida State freshman year, but that was because my sister was there. I've been to Michigan about 5 times. My brother goes there, and I only toured those 3. I kind of knew that it was going to come down to one of those 3. Yeah, I didn't really see any interest in touring anywhere else.
Yeah. Did you see yourself going to FSU? Like at the beginning, did you see like that was a big possibility?
No. So for a while, I was very anti-FSU, and I was very pro-UF. And then the more I looked into FSU, the more I realized like how much better their academics have gotten over the last 25 years. It's just like been getting harder and harder to get in.
Yeah, I feel like whenever I heard FSU, I didn't think of it as like a big prestige, like not like prestigious, but like a good college. I kind of felt like
because for a while
went there.
Yeah,
it's just like FSU.
Yeah, for a while it was known as like a very big. Well, it still is a very big party school. They have a good football program, and it was kind of not in that class of like hard schools to get in. But over the last 20 years, the acceptance rates dropped and dropped and dropped, and now this was the first year the FSU acceptance rate was lower than UF's. So that's a good ego boost.
So what are you gonna study, do you think?
My goal is to study in kinesiology and pre-med, but Florida State didn't offer that, so I'm majoring in chem. Yeah, and then hopefully I can switch into their physical therapy program, which is kinesiology after 2 years. But yeah, I'm chem pre-med. What about you?
I'm just gonna go into general business, so I'm just gonna go in there freshman year and see what I like and don't like, and then I'll make my decision from there. Either whether that be after freshman year or in the second semester. But yeah, I just kind of went general business because that's what my dad does.
Yeah.
Do you know why you went to kinesiology?
when I tore my UCL sophomore year of baseball, doctor's office sitting there, and I was just like upset about not being able to pitch anymore. But like I looked around, I saw all the posters, and I was like, this seems like a pretty cool job. I asked questions to the doctor, and kind of fell in love with being like the sports medicine physician job.
Mm-hmm.
But now I just have to find the process of getting there, and it's gonna be a long road. But yeah.
So you bring up sports. Was there any chance of you playing like football or baseball in college? Was that ever in the cards that you wanted to do that?
So for a while, from like 8th grade to like sophomore year, I wanted to play baseball in college, and I had some interest from a couple schools. I was going to camps, doing showcases, and then when I got that injury, it kind of killed it.
Yeah.
Not much I could really do, and then I quit baseball as a whole. Then football. The only school I wanted to play football at was Tufts. I wanted to go to a good academic school, a school that I couldn't get in with my academics for football, and Tufts was the only one that fit that, and I just never got really looked at, so that was really it. How about you for lacrosse?
I didn't really want to do that. Like all the schools, all the good lacrosse schools are up here, and I just didn't. I do not want to be up here anymore. It's too cold for that. It's just it can be miserable on some days in the rain, snow.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I don't want to deal with that. And the only school that I did, my dad went to St. Anselm's, so I went to a prospect day there, and just to see if I could, because I saw a bunch of kids on my club team were committing. I'm like, I'm better than him.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I did get an offer from St. A's, but I just was not gonna do that.
Yeah.
I was just gonna go down south and do.
Speaking of location, what were your like big things you looked for when picking a college?
Warm weather, easy. I did not want to be up here anymore. Like,
Yeah.
And like the ocean, like I know, so I'm going to Alabama, and it's not really near the ocean. We got like the Gulf,
But the Gulf, yeah.
But like it's not gonna be that much different from life here, because I'm going back there for breaks and stuff, and I'll be there in the summer, and like we don't go to the beach.
Yeah.
Unless in the summer, like
It's a rare occurrence if we do.
Yeah. So we never go to the beach here, so it's not gonna be much different.
Yeah, but it's just warmer.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking for.
Yeah. My big thing was I wanted to get far away. I think I applied to one school in Massachusetts, UMass, and that was it. And that was my only Northeast school.
Yeah.
I wanted to be as far as I could.
Yeah.
And I wanted a big school. I wanted a lot of students, big student body. And yeah, that was pretty much it. I didn't really I wasn't very picky.
Yeah.
I looked at a lot of schools like on Naviance beforehand and like picking which schools I wanted to apply to. I was looking at a lot. I didn't really have a range. There wasn't really. Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to?
The thing I'm looking forward to most was probably the student life at Florida State. They got ranked in the top 5 student life. So it's like, I know it's going to be fun. It's a big campus. I'm rooming with my childhood best friend, which is always makes things easier. So I'm excited to be able to live my own independent life. What about you?
I'm just excited for the same stuff because we're going to pretty much similar schools.
Very similar, yeah.
Very similar. And the other thing I just wanted to go was big sports. Like I want to just have like a big culture.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to my dad in the past, and I said I went to St. A's, and he doesn't have any merch or anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't really he didn't really do much there, and so he always told me he wanted me to go do a big school and have like a big culture that I can look back on. So that was kind of a big thing for me, and I think Alabama's the school for that.
Yeah, definitely.
So is FSU, and
they have good
big
programs,
sports, all the big tailgates. That's what I want to remember.
Yeah, it's gonna be very fun.
Yes.
When you were applying, did you get the advice about like how many reaches, how many safeties, and how many matches to use?
No, I just kind of I applied to 9, 10.
I played to 10 too.
Yeah, 10 or 11. I think 11 actually. But I wasn't told how many of each. I just kind of had a couple schools around here that I could just fall back on. Then I had my reaches, which were out farther. I don't think I had many reaches, but a couple good schools. What about you?
I was told by my guidance counselor, which I personally think we need to restructure our guidance program.
Really? Why?
For college, or at least the college process. I think it's kind of doesn't. by the time they bring something up in conversation to the students, it's already passed. And it doesn't really help the students at that point. I was talking to a couple other students that are going to pretty good schools, and we think they could restructure it and help out. But I was told 3, 3, and 3. 3 safeties, 3 matches, 3 reaches. I didn't follow that at all.
Yeah.
I played to like 2 safeties, a ton of matches, and 1 reach really, which was Michigan. And yeah, I just kind of did it like based off like where I wanted to be. I didn't really listen to the academic part of it. Like it's more about where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
What was your hardest part about your application?
You know, when I look back on it, I don't think it was really hard, other than I guess essays. But I didn't have to write many essays for the schools I applied to. I bet for you it was probably essays.
Yeah, the essays were the killer. But I just did them in school. Well, like teachers probably
promote that.
We don't promote doing this, but there was one class that I happened to have a lot of free time in, and
was I in that class?
You were in that class, and I just wrote a lot of my college essays in that class, and then I'd have my friend read it over, and if it looked grammatically correct, I would submit it. I think I submitted 8 out of my 10 essays, or 10 applications in school.
Yeah, I did not. I submitted them with my college tutor, which I advise people get as a...
Yeah.
It could be a little expensive, but it's definitely worth it. It helps you through the process a lot more. It looks, just like we're going into it, it looks really complicated and messy and difficult, but when you have someone that's like helping you through it, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's literally all the Common App. Just read through the Common App, and it helps you so much.
Yeah. If you can go back to junior year and think about like what was the scariest part of applying to colleges for you?
Not getting in.
Well,
That's like.
I guess that's a common fear.
I don't know. That's kind of the scariest, but I don't know. Probably ending up somewhere where I didn't want to go. I applied to a bunch of schools and didn't get into any of the ones I wanted, and going to school I don't want to go to. That's probably
I'd have to agree. Like I had my 3 that I really saw myself at, but besides that, I applied to other schools I liked that fit me, but like I couldn't see myself there, and that was a big fear of mine.
Yeah. I just wanted to go to a big like SEC school.
Yeah.
And I could see myself at any of like the schools like Auburn, Alabama, LSU. LSU. I was actually looking at that. I remember. This is kind of like I applied to this one later. So I applied to like 10 schools. All early decision. I think when was that? November?
Yeah, early decision. Yeah.
And I was basically done, and then I remember I just was thinking in school. I was like, let me think about LSU. So I was looking up LSU, all this stuff, and then I applied to that in like January or February, and I got it back like a month later. I got in. But yeah, you can like apply anytime, like after. Like if you think you're done, you got all your stuff out, you can still apply to school if you want to.
Yeah.
When's the deadline for?
I don't know when the last deadline was because I got in. So I got into my schools pretty early. I did all early action.
I feel like early action isn't early action. Like I feel like everyone does it.
Everyone does early action.
So it's not really early action. You're just going in with
if I could have one advice.
Regular decision's late.
Yeah. One advice to a student that's going through it: apply early action to every school that you can.
And I think it helps a lot if you apply to school like over the summer. Even like you can. There's some schools like what is it, Pitt, like in Arizona.
Bowling, UCF. You can all those like 3. Those are 3. Minnesota's rolling 2.
You can look up more. We'll look up more, but
schools like that that you can see you don't even need to see yourself at, but getting into your first school is such a relief.
Yeah.
Because you have somewhere to go.
Yeah, and then it also makes it kind of easier because like you're the first one in there. You're one of the first ones in there.
Yeah.
That they're seeing. So.
Yeah. Giving yourself an advantage
with the bar high.
Real high. Yeah.
Yeah.
But giving yourself the advantage with the admissions counselors by like applying
Yeah.
earlier helps a lot.
Yeah.
And you also give yourself, in case you get deferred,
Yeah.
the chance to get in again.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could go back and do it again, what would you change?
How far back? Like.
Start of high school. What would you do?
Okay, so start of high school. Yeah. I don't want to say like try. I mean, I think I tried hard in high school. I would say try harder, but I think I just tell myself now that like all the stuff that's helped me in my senior year be more successful. I just give myself some tips and stuff because I think my effort was there. It's just the way I was doing it was like hard. Yeah, I made it hard on myself.
Yeah.
But you?
Definitely try harder my freshman year.
Yeah.
I was a really good student in 8th grade, and then I kind of let it slip when COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
In case students, like, or future students or future Hiller students that are applying want to compare yourselves to like me and him and the schools we applied to, I'm gonna be graduating with like a 4.2.
I have a 3.6.
So freshman year I had a 3.6 GPA, which I'm not bashing you. To my standard, for me, I knew I could do better, and it kind of set in sophomore year. My parents were really on me, so if I put in more effort that freshman year, I think the colleges I think I still would have ended up at Florida State, honestly, but the colleges I would have applied to would have been a little different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with how I did it. I focused on extracurriculars all along, so I made sure to pick up like. I did a sports medicine internship with Amanda. I did my internships, and then I got my extracurriculars there. And then the standardized testing was big for me.
Yeah.
That carried my application.
Yeah, that wasn't big for me. I didn't really think about or do. I think I did 2 SATs.
Yeah, I took 4 ACTs.
Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't big. I think if I had to do it again, because like I did do better in the second one than I did the first. I was like, maybe if I did it a couple more times, I'd get a high score. So I recommend doing a bunch of them. And figuring out the patterns that they have and the algorithms.
One thing I learned, at least with the ACT, I can't speak for the SAT.
Yeah.
But the ACT was more like, it's less about like actually knowing the stuff and just knowing how they want you to answer.
It's all a big game.
There's a lot of tricks, and if you can figure out like how they're trying to trick you, it's easy.
Yeah.
And it's like once you can figure that out, I got a counselor for that. I went to an ACT.
In the back for the last one, I had me and my siblings use the same tutor, so I just had her help me out with it.
Yeah.
But I didn't have like a SAT specific person.
Yeah. I went to some woman in Holliston for a total of 20 hours studying, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
I honestly wouldn't recommend it. I think the thing that helped
you think it was worth it?
No. Because, all right, so my first ACT, I got a 26, and that was with the tutor. I also had pink eye that morning, so that could be blamed. But, got a fart come to my face. What are you going to do about it? I got a 32 my next test, and that was after studying just by myself.
What was FSU's average?
Their national average was a 32 to a 34, I think, and I finished with a 33. So I fell right in the middle of that. But standardized testing is a very good way to help if you don't have the strongest GPA. You can kind of assist yourself, and with schools, every school that now seems to be test optional, you can, if you don't do well, just not submit it.
Yeah.
You
don't need to submit it.
It doesn't hurt.
Are schools going back to
Some schools are.
Yeah.
All Florida schools require scores, but then there's the California schools where you're not allowed to submit your scores.
What schools don't allow?
All UC schools don't allow.
So Connor
didn't have to submit a score. Huh. So, it's weird in that sense, because there's two polar opposites. But I know some Ivies, I think, are going back to requiring. So I don't know.
I don't get the whole I'm a bad test taker thing. It's what are we supposed to measure you on? Like, I
Yeah.
get GPA, but like,
But GPA,
that could be
I'm not going to say names, but I know some kids with some very good GPAs that are
juiced
not
up.
that are not that smart.
Yeah, like it's all the same for everyone. Like the SAT, like for
It's the same
GPA, I feel like you could have like, I know people have had like teachers that will juice up the grades and they'll make their inflate their GPA, but then when they take the standardized test, it's just drops.
There's so many more factors that go in, and it's just like
and I think that should be the norm. The SATs. Yeah, but I guess if you have a high GPA and they're not requiring it,
yeah.
don't. But like, I think that it should be.
What's one thing that you use to like differentiate yourself from other students in the process?
Probably let's use my extracurricular.
Yeah.
Multiple sports, captain.
Yeah.
That
Always does it.
Yeah, that'll do the trick.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you?
I would my top
And also volunteer hours.
volunteer hours are huge. If you can get them, do them. So I was. Yeah, me too. NHS. So I was captain of football, which helps a
Yeah.
lot. And then my other ones, I had a 3-year internship with the athletic trainer, which looks really strong, but realistically, I didn't do much work for it. It's kind of just something that looks great. I was president of Community Service Club.
I was a member.
That looks amazing on a resume, and it looks fantastic on a resume. But realistically, I do minimal.
I think I showed up to more as a member.
I go to the meetings, but yeah, it's like you just need stuff that will look good, and you can kind of promote yourself.
Yeah.
The other big one was my clothing company.
Yeah, but might I add that would be good for a business. That would so if you're a business, if you're going for business and start your own business, it's awesome.
Yeah, it didn't really help me as a chem major.
Yeah.
Starting a business didn't really.
You gonna hit a little plug?
You never know, but Just Drive Clothing. If you all want to go buy, go buy.
New drop.
New drop. We just dropped. I'm not wearing it, but we just dropped T-shirts. We have T-shirts and hoodies now. So $30 T-shirts.
How many hoodies do you have left?
We have about 50 hoodies left. Still gotta get those out. T-shirts. We just got 200 more T-shirts in. So if anyone wants to go buy, go buy. Yeah.
Logan's promoting them in practice yesterday.
Yeah.
He didn't wear it, of course, and during the practice to mess it up.
That helped me a lot, I think, in the like, it looks weird because it's like, it's a business for a chem major, but like, they see that you're like putting effort outside of school into other things, and they like, those colleges will like that.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Ooh, what was your biggest surprise for another student in the school that you were like, wow, that's like, I can't, like, that's insane that they got into that school?
Let me think about that one, but before I say, I think that it is very hard. I didn't see many surprises this year, if I'm going to be honest, because the schools are so hard to get into now.
Yeah, true.
So I didn't see many surprises. I saw a lot of letdowns. Like some kids one of our friends was very smart, did not get into any Ivies when I was like, oh, this is the smartest kid I know for my whole life. And
Yeah, growing up, I thought he was going to be, like, I don't know, president. Like,
and then he didn't get into some schools, and I was like, oh, they're not even Ivies, they're just good schools. I'm like, oh, you didn't get in there, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Surprises?
I got one. I have one surprise, and it'd be Connor. One of our best friends, Connor.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
I'm not gonna say that's a surprise. Connor's a very smart
Connor's
kid.
a very, very smart kid, but UC Berkeley is an extremely hard school to get into. So that was awesome to see him get in there. But it's we have our class in itself is very talented.
Yeah.
Like we had a decent amount of Ivy students.
Yeah.
Some very impressive students. We have a lot of athletes. A lot of athletes.
A lot of athletes. Not a lot of kids going to college for it though.
Yeah, that is true. And then our kids that are going to college are pretty strong though.
Yeah.
Like we have our guests coming on our next future episodes. We have Brooke Burwhistle and Georgie Clark. Both Brooke's going to Brown, Georgie's going to BC. They're both going to strong schools.
Yeah.
Like having athletes like that that go to the schools that are so impressive, it's like realistically, I think both of them would admit first they're not the students that would get
Brown's
in.
Ivy, right?
Brown is an Ivy.
That's funny.
Yeah.
She's going to Ivy.
So realistically, they would be the first to admit those are not schools academically they'd normally get into. But they put that's a whole different route. We're gonna explore that route when they come on.
If you really love your sport, you're really good at it. You could have a big opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's impressive and it's cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think lacrosse would have helped me get into like a good one of those
Lacrosse
schools.
is weird because it's not at a lot of schools.
It's had some very the D1 level. It's got very good schools. Like D3, it's kind of. I think it's kind of like every sport. It's just the schools that it's like D1, they're very good, but the D3, it's just kind of like every other school.
Yeah.
Like because the top programs, Notre Dame, Virginia, Duke,
And those are
those
insane
are-
academic
yeah.
schools.
So if you can, but I'm not because if you can get into a better school than you would, just academically, I suggest it.
Yeah. Unless you don't want to take the route where, because if you're doing that, then you're stuck in the student athlete life, and that's a lot of
That's
responsibility.
another thing I was going to bring up. The student athlete, it's a full-time job,
It is.
and
Yeah.
then you have school on the side, which is
Which for us, going to party schools.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, we couldn't do that. Yeah.
I don't know how these. I feel like these athletes are gonna what do they do when they're done?
Well, it's weird because just about all college athletes won't go to the pros. So
Serious?
that's not mine. Just about all athletes go to the pros. Free water. So not all athletes go to. Most athletes don't go. So like, the one thing I've heard when I looked into it, it's nice because you're on a team and you create brotherhoods.
Yeah.
And that gives you connections, so it's easier to get jobs. Like, I was talking to one of my friends, and he's like, "Yeah, a kid on my team's older, like, their dad. I mean, yeah, a kid on my team's dad is like offering some kids on the team's jobs, and it's just a way to get jobs out of college because you have connections. It's kind of like a fraternity.
I was gonna say it's kind of like a frat.
So, do you plan on rushing a frat in college, John?
There we go. There it is. Like I would, but if any of you guys know anything about Alabama, they're one of the biggest in the country at, and it's intense. You commit your life to the frat.
Yeah, for that pledging process.
How long is the pledging process?
It's the whole first semester.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I thought I went into it thinking it was the whole year. So
That helps.
But I feel like it's worse in some places.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely where I'm going. Yeah.
For those who do not know, Alabama and Florida State are both in the top 5 worst hazing for fraternities.
Let's not promote this. We should not promote this. I just think that let's put the pledging aside. Let's kick that under the rug here. Let's just talk about the life, like when a frat life, like you have brothers, and they like make you do like work. They make you like you have to maintain a certain GPA to stay in the frat.
Yeah.
And then you're you can be lined up after college.
Yeah.
Like you can get a job from one of your brothers.
That's the benefits. It's like when you go into a job interview and you're talking to an interviewer, they could ask you if you were in a fraternity, and if you're in the same fraternity, there's an instant connection between the two of you. And I talked to my brother he's getting out of college right now, and he's went through his job application process. He says the person who hired him was in his frat.
Yeah.
And it helps a lot. He's met a lot of people through his frat. That's why I don't know if I'm going to rush a frat, because I want to for that reason. But then again, I'm in Florida State Honors College, which is going to take a lot of my time, and I don't know if I have the balance to be able to balance all of it.
Yeah, I don't think I think the frat life is just it's a lot for some people. Some people die for that. Like with pause. Okay.
You have.
Okay. All right. Like they love that life. They make their whole life about the frat life, and that's all they care about. But It's like I'm just not. I don't think I'm up for that. All the being surrounded by them all the time. I mean, it's good to have I'll play club lacrosse at Alabama, and that'll be hello. Say hi to the podcast.
Want to say hi to the podcast?
Hello, podcast.
So, I'll make friends through the lacrosse team as well, if I choose to or not. So I'll have friends regardless. I don't think that's a big worry if you don't join frat.
Yeah. Speaking of friends, have you found a roommate yet?
Yeah, there was this kid I've been texting from Illinois. He plays lacrosse and football. I saw on the class of 28 pages, or the whatever class you are. They always have them. You can just send a couple pictures of yourself. Just say what you like to do, your name, your hobbies, and then it can give you instant connections. I recommend it. Did you post it?
I never posted.
Yeah, 'cause I know you have a roommate, but I didn't know if you wanted to.
I was debating. I found my roommate right away. It's my childhood best friend, so that made it really easy. But I still was debating posting it just to make more connections.
Mm-hmm.
And then I joined the Snapchat group. I don't know if you did that for your Alabama.
I tried it again, and then we tried it, Jason, and then I went back the next day and tried it, and then it still says pending. I don't know why.
Yeah, I joined that, and that helped a lot. Actually, I got a lot of ads from some guys, and I got to connect and find some kids in the honors college, some kids that I'm gonna cross paths with, and that was helpful.
Well, the ads were love dudes.
Yeah.
All right. What are we at here?
31 minutes. Oh, a couple more.
Okay. All right.
What's your biggest advice to a student applying?
It's a loaded question. Just know what you want to do, so when you apply to these schools, you know which schools you're applying to, so you don't have to transfer. That's a thing. And that's another thing. Transferring it's not always the worst idea. If you go there for a year or semester and don't like it, you can transfer, and it's much easier getting into schools through the transfer.
Yeah, way easier. Yeah. I figured that out.
Oh, Rocco's brother got into Michigan.
Yeah.
Is he smart? Is he a smart cookie?
I don't know how smart of a cookie he is, but Michigan's a very hard school, and I'm assuming he didn't get in when he applied in high school.
I don't know. Did he apply in high school?
I don't know if he did,
Right.
but the fact that he got in transferring is amazing. You can get into a lot harder schools through transferring, and the only thing you're sacrificing is the social life you're leaving behind. But you can always
I
start
recommend staying inside your freshman year. Don't make any friends, so it makes leaving much easier. I'm kidding.
Yeah, don't do that.
Of course.
What's your favorite thing about Alabama that sticks out to you?
The culture.
The culture.
Yeah, everyone just yells out "Roll Tide" to each other, and it's just a nice
Leeds,
culture.
Bama, Leeds.
Yes. And you.
FSU is probably. I'd also have to go with the school pride and culture. At a big sports school that's been good for a while. Same thing with Bama.
Yeah.
There's those cultures of the alumni are proud to be from there.
Yeah.
And it's nice, and you can connect with more people through that.
I want to go to one of these big schools, and the big schools, they have so much money in there, and going around, and they can make life just is so much better at these big schools, just the dorms,
Yeah.
and everything, the cafeteria, just everything is just better. It's some schools are just college kids. They live in these dumpy dorms, and they're fine with it. I don't want to do
I don't
that.
want to do that.
I want to live in a nice dorm.
Have a nice life, student life.
Yeah.
I agree. I had a question. Oh my God, what was it? Damn. It was a good question too. It was about Bama. It's gone.
Into the ether.
Well, into the ether. But oh my God. Cut that.
Alright,
I think we're probably pretty good.
I think we're good.
35 minutes.
That's a good
That's
call.
a hefty podcast.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
We will be back soon. We'll have 2 more guests on, and we'll talk to them about their college experience. And,
Most likely going to be some student athletes. So if you're a student athlete, tune in.
perchance. All right.
So we'll see you guys next week.